material any longer. We will also not be sending you a video recording of today's session. Okay, so what I want to begin doing is I want you to shut off all your distractions. I want you to set up the conditions you need to be fully present. Okay, if that means closing your door, turning off your phone, turning off your alarms, being disconnected from anything that is not this class, give yourself the opportunity to be fully present. Give yourself the opportunity to be fully here. So, having said that, we're going to begin with a little relaxation exercise. I don't know why my silly, sometimes it doesn't let me move my slides. Let's see if I can do this again. Okay, so we're going to begin with a breathing exercise. We're going to begin with an exercise to ground us. So what I want everybody to do, for those of you who feel comfortable, I want you to close your eyes. For those of you who want to keep them open, you may, but it works better if your eyes are closed. We're just going to ground ourselves so the information that I give you can really sink in. A lot of times we have a lot going on in our lives, and it's important to take a little time to ground ourselves. So we're going to begin. You're going to put both feet on the floor, and you're going to have your arms comfortably. If your chair has arms, you're going to rest your arms, your arms on the arms of your chair, or you can set your arms on your lap, or if you're comfortable, put them in front of you. Just make sure that your feet are grounded and try to be as relaxed as you can. Both feet on the ground. Now we're going to take an inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to be aware of our feet. Just feel your feet. Feel them be very heavy. And then we're going to inhale again. And as we exhale, we're going to feel our calves. Are they tense? Are they relaxed? Just feel your calves. Be aware of your calves. Again, we're going to inhale. And as we exhale, I want you to feel your knees. Make sure your legs are parallel to each other. Make sure your legs aren't crossed. Just feel how your knees are right now. Now inhale again. And as we exhale, you're going to feel your thighs. See if you're tensing them. Try to relax them. Just be aware of how your thighs feel right now. Now we're going to inhale. And now you're going to feel your buttocks. Are you clenching your cheeks, or are they relaxed? Again, we're going to inhale. Now we're going to do the pelvis. So inhale. As we exhale, we're going to feel our pelvis. Just be mindful of how it feels. And now we're going to do our chest. We're going to inhale. And as we exhale, let the air out. Just be mindful of how your chest feels. Now we're going to do your back. So go ahead and inhale. And as you exhale, just feel the muscles on your back. Now we're going to do your shoulders. Go ahead and inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to be mindful of your shoulders. Be aware if you're drooping them. Be aware if they're tense, if they're high up in the sky, or they're nice and low. Just feel your shoulders. Now we're going to do your neck. Go ahead and inhale. And just be mindful if your neck, as you exhale, if it's relaxed, if it's tense. I tend to accumulate a lot of tension on my neck. Now we're going to do our head. Go ahead and inhale. As you exhale, slowly let it out. Feel your head. And then finally, we're going to do your forehead. We're going to inhale. And as you exhale, make sure that your head is nice and relaxed, that you're not crunching anywhere. Okay, good. So that was just the beginning to get started and get us grounded. Be really open to the information that you're going to be receiving. So today, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Interpretrain's 3-step method. Now, let me take a step back. The reason why I developed this material, I have a background in psychology. I'm a psychologist. I'm a federally certified interpreter. I've been approved by or certified, depending on what the state's legislature is, by California, New Jersey, and New York. And I started studying interpretation after I had already become a psychologist. And I was often frustrated because I felt that the material, I was very grateful for the material that I was studying with. And there is material out there that really helped me. But as a psychologist and as a teacher, I always felt that some of the stuff wasn't really aligned with the way that I learned. I felt, for example, that the sequence in which I was trying to get the information wasn't really brain friendly. So that's what motivated me to create this method. And this method can be applied with any material. I'm going to empower you guys, and I'm also going to teach you free resources, whether you want to work with Interpretrain or you want to work without other type of material, you will be able to apply this method. So the first step of the method is to work with the vocabulary. The second step, you move on to the interpretation. And then the third step, you carry out an evaluation. Now, why do we do this? To interpret accurately, you have to be able to get into a flow. But when you're faced with unknown vocabulary, that can mess up your flow. So when you're working with simultaneous mode, you will only learn to get to certain speeds once you get into a flow. But if something that you don't know is interrupting your flow, you're not going to get to that speed. Same thing happens with the consecutive mode. There are certain chunks that you're going to have to get, your memory development. You could be taking really good notes, getting really good memory retention, really concentrating, but then there's a word you don't know, and that messes up the whole thing. So the only way you're gonna get to that speed, to that level of skill, is by being able to get into a flow, okay? It's kind of like with runners. The only way you learn to run at a certain speed is to be able to run at the speed that precedes it, okay? So what happens when you don't know the vocabulary is just as you start focusing, you begin understanding the message, you begin to accurately express the meaning, you bump into unknown vocabulary, and that throws you off balance. And I'm sure you have felt this. You're doing a practice and you feel so good about it, and then you bump into a word you don't know that distracts you, and then you're thrown off balance. The more terms you don't know, the harder it is for you to get your groove back. So to interpret accurately, your brain has to be able to multitask efficiently. Interpretation is the most complex multitasking activity that has ever been studied. Some neuroscientists and neuropsychologists have studied what goes on in our brains when we're interpreting, and you have probably felt it if you're a seasoned interpreter. There's quite a lot going on. So I like the metaphor of the acrobatic juggling, the acrobatic juggling metaphor. This is kind of like what's happening in our brains when we're interpreting. There's so much going on at the same time. So we have to know the vocabulary. That has to be the tightrope that we're on, and that tightrope has to be a solid ground for you. You have to have native command of both languages that you're working with. And you have to have mastery of the specialized vocabulary in the particular field that you're working in. So that's the first element. On top of that, we're juggling interpreting skills. We have to have comprehension as we're listening or as we're reading. We have to have speed. We have to have accuracy. And we have to have cultural competency. We have to be able to understand what those words mean. More important than the words is the meaning. So there's a lot going on. So to master any complex task, the most effective approach is to divide and conquer. So when we're trying to, if we were trying to learn to do this in real life, we wouldn't get on a rope, get on a motorcycle, and start juggling balls. We would most likely first learn to juggle, then learn to use the motorcycle, then put the balls in the motorcycle together. And when we have these two, then we're going to try to get on that rope. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to divide the tasks and then put them back together. You have to tackle each subtask separately until you ace it, and then you combine them, okay? So that's what the 3-step method does. Step 1, you learn the vocab. Step 2, you work on your skills. And step 3, you do an evaluation. That's one of the things that frustrated me when I was studying interpretation with some materials, was that you finished and you don't really know what your grade is. Okay, so you're finished and you're thinking, well, if that had been a test, would I have gotten a 100? Would I have gotten a 50? What is my score? So we have created a platform and a material that will allow you to get a grade. And I'll teach you how to do that if you don't work with our material. Okay, so skill building is the cornerstone of any interpreter's training. So the skills have to be very sharp. If you know all the vocab, but you don't have the skills, you're not going to get anywhere. So that's why the first few labs that we do have no specialized vocabulary. We're just focused on skill building. So this initial stage is all about honing your skills. You want to elevate your comprehension, which is the most important skill you can have as an interpreter, whether it's in simultaneous interpretation, sight translation, or simul. You have to be able to understand the meaning of the message. You have to gain speed for the simultaneous mode to keep up, both in the comprehension and the language production. You have to be able to keep up with a fast speaker. And you have to increase your accuracy, and you have to sound natural. So once you develop your interpreting skills, then we begin adding on, we begin dealing with specialized vocabulary. And the vocabulary won't throw you off balance because now we have the skills that are nice and tight, okay? Before we take a look at a lab without vocabulary, I wanna get to know you guys a little bit more. So because we have so many people in here, it's impossible for us to be able to unmute you because of the cacophony problem I mentioned. But I wanna go ahead and use the chat to find out those of you whose language combination is English, Spanish only, go ahead and use the chat and say English, Spanish, and let's see how many people's language combination is English, Spanish. Very good. Wow, a lot of you. Okay, now I want to hear now from those of you who speak another language and interpret in another language. I know a little bit of French, but enough only to order a cup of coffee. So for those of you who have another language that you interpret with, go ahead and use the chat to let us know. Arabic, awesome. Portuguese, cool. Ooh, Chinese, French, beautiful. Portuguese, Russian, awesome. Mandarin, beautiful. Okay, so we have quite a diverse crowd. I just want you guys to know that this session has been designed for English, Spanish interpreters, but any language is welcome. So if you notice that you are, you know, bombarded with a lot of English, Spanish information, is because we designed it for that purpose, but any language, of course, is welcome. And we're so happy that you're here. We'll see how these sessions go, and if after these 4 sessions we feel like we can continue doing another round, then we are thinking about doing a language neutral few sessions. So we'll see how that works out, okay? Now, I want to see what fields you guys work in. Could you guys use the chat to let me know if it's court? Okay, court, let's start with court first. You can just type me if your field is court. Court, let's talk about court first. Okay, awesome. Lots of court interpreters. That's my main field of practice as well. Now let's talk about medical. Go ahead and write me if you are a medical interpreter as well. Medical. Cool, lots of medical interpreters. Awesome, cool, cool. Okay, how about conference interpreters? Do we have any conference interpreters here? Ooh, conference, yay. Awesome, cool. Okay, and it's Carmen Mendoza's goal. That's great. Okay, how about community interpreting? Do we have any community interpreters? Ooh, we have a few. Awesome, education, great. Phone interpretation, okay, great, great. Are there any other fields that I've left out that you interpret for? Education, curriculum design, staff, FPD. What's FPD? Schools, education, trauma-informed for victims services. Ooh, interesting. That sounds really, really useful work. Okay. Federal public defender, escort interpretation. Great, great. Wiretap, but don't tell. Ah, too late. I won't say the name of that person. Okay, great. Immigration. Oh, I left out my immigration colleagues. How many of you work in immigration other than Luz Maria and Tere? Okay. Ooh, lots of immigration interpreters. Are there any other fields I left out? Workers' comp. Okay. Workers' comp. I do workers' comp too, but I consider that court. Legal interpretation. Okay. Labor law. Awesome. Okay, very good. Now let's see how much experience we have here. I wonder how much collective experience we have, but that's not gonna be easy to do that math. Let's begin with people who have from 0 to 6 months of experience. Go ahead and type me if you have from 0 to 6. Oh, Will, welcome. Desmond, awesome. Marta, okay, you guys are starting off on the right foot. That's great. You're going to get a lot of tools here. If you feel like the sessions that we are doing are a little bit, it's hard when you have a group that has different levels. So if you feel like it's a little bit too challenging, be patient with yourself. And we are going to give you tools that are going to help you for your level. So don't be so focused on the practices themselves, just be worried about the methodology. And I promise you it'll be worth it. Okay. Now, oh, Carmen Mendoza is so sweet. She says, I wish I had started with your material several years ago. That's great. Well, you're here now and that's what matters. Okay, how about from 6 months to a year? Do we have anybody in here from 6 months to a year? Okay, how about 1 to 5 years? Oh, Yalpri. 1 to 5. Okay, we have a few young interpreters, youngish. Okay, how about 5 to 10? Now we sound like a prison sentence. 5 to 10. Okay, great, great. How about 10 to 15? Do we have 10 to 15? Ooh, Lilia's. Ooh, we have a bunch of seasoned interpreters in here. That's great. Do I hear 15 to 20? 15 to 20. Wow. Does anybody have more than 20 years of experience? More than 20? 33 years, Christopher. Oh, that's amazing. How many? Those of you who have more than 20, 26 years. Okay. Right now, Christopher has the record of 33. Do I hear 34 or above 33? Jenny says from 1986. My math is really bad. So you have to break it down in years for me. Jenny wins. Okay, Jenny wins, man. She's a seasoned interpreter. 34 years. My goodness, thank you, Jalita, for the math. Okay, great. So we have a lot of people here from different backgrounds. Last, I just want to find out your nationalities. I'm Colombian. My mother's Cuban and I was raised in Colombia. We have Mexico, Guatemala, Spain, Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Peru, Venezuela, and Idaho. Ooh, El Salvador, Argentina. Wow, how beautiful. Algeria, Puerto Rico, another Colombian, a fellow Colombian, Lina. Philadelphia, Peru. Oh, we have people from all over the world. That's awesome. Egypt. Ah, Taiwanese. Oh, that's beautiful. What a wonderful thing for us all to be together right now. Paisa, another person from Colombia. That's great. Okay, and then finally, where are you right now? Where are you joining us from? I'm in California, USA, Miami, Texas. Whoa, Maryland, Spain, Istanbul. Oh, how awesome. Florida, New York, Guatemala. Oh, what a beautiful, diverse group. Okay. That's great, you guys. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy that you could make it. And now let's start out with that lab. Let's go take a look at that lab. Let's go find out how we're going to learn. So we're going to share with you this link on the chat. So you're going to be able to access these labs on your own during course time, during the class, okay? So Brad, our company manager, is going to share the link on the chat so you guys can access this. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be toggling between our presentation and the labs, okay? So I just want everybody to go ahead and use that link that Brad has just shared with you guys. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be opening up a little new tab, just like this. Let me just make sure, can everybody see my screen? Can everybody see my new tab that I just created? If you could let me know using the chat.
Your screen is holding up.
Okay, so we can see this new tab?
No.
Okay, so let me go ahead and stop my share and go ahead and begin my share again, so I can show you guys how that works. Do you see that now?
I see Google.
Okay, great. So do you see this new little tab here?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is the way most people's computers work. You'll notice that we are in one particular tab. If you go up here, you'll be able to open up a new tab. So you're going to go to the chat. You're going to copy that link that Brad shared with you, and you're going to take that link and you're going to use it to access your course.
And you're going to enter code 04-2020.
So the April 2020, 04-2020 is going to be your password, okay? So I want everybody to go ahead and begin your course. All right. If you can't access the course, don't worry, you'll be able to see it from my screen, okay? For those of you who can't access the course, you'll be able to see it from my screen. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be working with first labs that don't have any specialized chord vocabulary. So we don't wanna get ourselves all worked up with labs that are going to face us with unknown vocab. We're just going to go into getting ourselves warm, feeling comfortable. So I want you guys to go with this first lab over here that says no vocab, simultaneous consecutive child custody, okay? Now, as you can see, it's laid out in 3 steps. The first step, you're going to have an overview of the material. The second step, you're going to do the interpretation. And then the third step, you're going to grade yourself, okay? So let's begin with the first step and we can all do this together. I want you guys to take a moment and I want us to read this text. The purpose is going to be just to get an idea of the text so we don't have any surprises, okay? Let me see if I can make this, I can zoom out a little bit so we can see the full screen. Beautiful. One more. I think, okay, well, we're not gonna see the full thing, but okay. I'm gonna give you guys time to read this text. I don't want you to read this text thoroughly. I just want you to basically get the general gist of what's going to happen. As you're reading the text, I also want you to be looking out for words that you think, oh, I don't know how I would say this. And kind of let that, if you want to take a little note of those words, you can, but we're not trying to do a thorough reading. It's kind of a skimming to find out which words might trip you up, okay? When you're finished reading this page, go ahead and use the chat and let me know. If you were able to access your course on your own, you're basically going to advance by yourself. But let's begin reading this page, everybody. Here we go. All right, you guys, I think that most of you are done, and it wasn't really about getting a really, really, really deep, thorough reading. Are there some words that you guys are kind of wondering how you would deal with? Anybody have any ones that you were thinking?
Like to fall out of love.
Oh, what fall out of love? Let's, ooh, how did you get unmuted? Okay, to fall out of love. Do we have any suggestions? Sheila asks drama. In Spanish, you can say drama. Dejar de amar. Very good. Dejar de amar. It's perfect. Dejar de querer. Very good. Desenamorarse, even. Good job. Okay. So any other ones? Any other ones that you were kind of thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do with that? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Stepsister. What would you guys do about stepsister? Hermanastra. Very good. Hermanastra. Very good. What else? What other words are you thinking? I don't know what I'm going to do when I face that one. Miserable. Miserable. When someone is miserable, how would you say that in Spanish? Miserable is, yeah, miserable is a little difficult, right? Infeliz, muy triste, amargado. Very good, you guys. Very good. Any other words you're worried about? Any other words? Miserable is quite intense, so we want to make sure we keep that intensity. Okay? All righty. Any other words that you're thinking? Regardless, más allá de, sin importar. Attitude, actitud. Oh, when your grades are dropping. When your grades are dropping, what do you say? Están bajando sus calificaciones. Very good. Very good. Good job, you guys. Very good. Okay. One more, and then we're going into the interpretation. Any other ones? Okay, so now that we know kind of what we're going to face, we can focus on the actual interpretation and not worry about it, okay? So we're going to do that. For those of you who have been able to access your material, you're going to go ahead and you can go into this little home button and it's going to take you here. Let's begin with the consecutive. You'll notice that we have two versions. If you are not really a seasoned interpreter, you're going to begin with a decelerated version. If you feel like you got a little bit more experience under your belt, you're going to go ahead and choose the normal speed, okay? I do want you to go ahead and connect your headphones to your computer if you're using, whether you're using your own labs or you're going to be working with our labs, you're going to connect your headphones. Of course, you're going to need pen and paper. If you have this beautiful type of StenoPad, that's awesome. If you don't, do work with what you got, okay? You're going to be listening to the audio. You're going to be recording yourself, very important. I want you to record yourself because we are going to grade yourself, okay? We are going to grade your work. So I want everybody to begin. For those of you who have your own labs, you're basically going to mute us so you don't hear us. You can lower the volume on your computer and just work on your own. For those of you who are working with us, with my that I'm going to show you, my share, I want you to, let's take a vote. Do you guys want to do the decelerated or the normal? Go ahead and use the chat. Normal. Do I hear anybody else other than Sydney? Normal. Normal. Okay, perfect. So just so we know, we are in lesson 1, which is child custody. Okay, everyone should be in child custody. Let me go ahead and put this back, go back to home. Just make sure where everybody is on the same page. So we're going to basically go into this first lab, which is lesson 1 of 5. You're going to click on it and you're going to see this. We already did step 1, so we're going to move to step 2. We're going to do the consecutive interpretation of step 2. Okay, you're going to click on that and you're going to choose one of these two. I'm going to go ahead and stop this share so I can share it again, making sure that my computer is going to share the sound. Here we go. Ready? Let's go.
Begin voice recording now. Your practice will begin at the beep in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
I just don't understand why my ex-wife won't let my son come live with me. Instead of living half the time here and half the time there. She says that I'm not a good father, but that's not true. I'm a very good dad. I am never late on any of my financial obligations. There are very few fathers who are as dedicated to their children as I am. I always go to my son's meetings at school. I never miss any of his soccer games. I never miss any of his school activities. I am always there when he needs me. The truth is that my ex-wife is angry because I divorced her. She is still furious about the fact that I remarried. But my son is the one who suffers due to her negative attitude. Regardless what she thinks, my son needs me. She would never admit it, but my son loves to be at my house. He loves being with my new wife and with his stepsisters. He is always happy when he is spending time with us. His 3 stepsisters adore him. You should see the 4 of them together. They always have so much fun. The kids are happy there because there is no drama at our house. We have a very peaceful home. My son has told me that he doesn't like to be at his mother's house. She is always angry. He says she cries for no reason. I don't think it's a healthy environment for him. She is a very negative person. She makes him very sad. Worst of all, she doesn't even realize it. She does not get it, no matter how many times I tell her that her negativity is hurting him. My son is at that age where he needs a father. He needs a stable home. I know that if he lived in a happy environment, he would be excellent at school. Ever since we got a divorce, his grades have been dropping. It is very sad to see, because he's such a smart boy. I know he can get his grades up again. What he needs is stability. Going back and forth from my house to his mom's is not good for him at all. I understand that my ex-wife is still very angry. I met my current wife when I was still married to my ex. But, as I tried to explain to her when she found out that I was being unfaithful to her, you can't control matters of the heart. You can't control whether you fall in love or not. You can't control falling out of love with someone, but she simply doesn't get any of this. Most importantly, she doesn't see that none of this is my son's fault. He should not have to be the one who has to pay the consequences for the fact that she can't let go of her anger. As hard as things are now, I am absolutely certain that my son is better off now that his mother and I are apart. Our relationship was always miserable. We did nothing but argue all the time. I know we've caused him great psychological harm due to those fights we had in front of him all the time. But I also know that my son is very young and he can be a healthy and happy boy again if he's in the right environment. My ex-wife says that I just want to have my son live with me all the time because I don't like driving him for over an hour twice a week from my house to hers. But that's not true. I just want what is best for my son, that's all. My ex-wife is a very jealous woman. She doesn't care about what's best for our son. She doesn't realize how much damage she's causing him. I hope you can convince her to let me live with my son full time. I know this is what's best for him. Please help me.
Stop voice recording now. This interpreting practice has concluded.
All right, you guys. So we threw you a little curveball there with our whispering in the background. And that was absolutely calculated. We want to see how you perform under stress. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That was a mess up on my part. I thought you couldn't hear that. So next time we'll make sure that you don't do that, that we don't have you stressing over that. Okay, even though it's a great practice to be able to perform under stress, it's not what we're trying to do right now. So I'm sorry about that. Won't happen again. All right, I want to volunteer to go ahead and take a picture of your notes and email them to info@interpreting. I want to check out your notes. And while we're waiting for a picture of somebody's notes, I want you guys to use the chat and let me know how the experience was, other than the awful whispering in the background, which I take total responsibility for. How did you feel? Did you have enough time? These are relatively short chunks. Somebody didn't take notes, okay, but it only appears, it was very good. It was great. Lengths were good. Okay, great, you guys. Okay, you didn't need to take notes on this. That's awesome. Okay, perfect. All right, so I don't want you to erase this particular practice because this might be the one that you grade, okay? Okay, now I want you guys to go ahead and use the chat. Let me know if you sent us your notes. If you did send us your notes, let us know in the chat. Nobody wants to share their notes, to be scrutinized. Notes are illegible. That's okay. The email for the notes is info@interpretrain.com. Thank you, Catherine. You can email us, okay, your notes so we can take a look at your beautiful notes. And it doesn't matter that your notes are not legible to us. We can see if you're being vertical. Oh, Christopher sent us his notes. Let me go ahead and stop the share. Let me go ahead and look into our email. Info. And let's see if I can retrieve Christopher's beautiful notes. It doesn't really matter if you guys are, if your notes are not legible. That's not what matters, okay? Okay, Tony Baji, I think, wants to share the screen with you guys. Oh, awesome. Tony, look at that. Very succinct notes. Look at how few words I can't spot. The only word I see that is the full word is the word sun over here. Do you see how he's doing a lot of abbreviations? Let go of was a moment where he did the full word, but very seldomly does he write the full word. Look at ex-wife, okay? So one thing that we can learn from Tony is how he's writing very succinct notes. We also notice that he's using some symbols, okay? We also notice that he is this your been there, done that line, Tony? If you can use the chat. I don't know, can we unmute Tony so he can talk to us a little bit about his notes? Oh, we lost Tony's notes.
Tony, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you so much. So I have to admit, I haven't been working on my note-taking technique. So this
That
is
looks pretty good, Tony. Is this your been there, done that line?
No, it's not.
Okay. What are these lines here?
They're I guess they're doodles.
Oh,
In
okay.
between, like in the pauses. But you know what? But it is separating out to like the next idea. You know, once I'm done with that, then I go, you know, it's.
Oh, that is the been there, done the line, meaning when the person stops talking?
Yeah.
Perfect, Tony.
Yes.
So that's the been there, done that line. That's the line that you write a chunk of speech when the person stops talking or when you interrupted them because they're talking way too much. You write this line and then you keep going down. If you can tell, Tony is going vertical. So he's going vertically. He's respecting this middle line. So if I'm correct, Tony, you wrote down the left half of the page first and then you write down the right half of the page.
That's correct.
That's a technique called verticality, which will allow you to implement a bunch of other techniques. As you can also see, as I was mentioning, he doesn't write out full words. There are a lot of abbreviations and there are a lot of doodles. Also, he's very selective with the words that he does decide to write. You don't see anywhere on the page words like is or to or or on. The words that we do get are very well chosen words that will remind him of the rest of the idea. For example, XW is ex-wife. Am I right, Tony?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Can you remember a little bit what these notes were? Can you, if you were to read them out to us, could you now? I know notes prescribed with time, but I know notes expire, but do you remember any of these doodles?
My goodness. I'm not the best at recalling the dialogue. Like once it's gone for me.
Yeah, that's the thing with
you know?
notes. It's hard once you've rendered it to remember long term. These are beautiful notes. Thank you, Tony, for sharing. Awesome work.
Thank you, Virginia.
I want you guys to look at the chat. Brad is going to share with you guys two free videos that we have on note taking. The first one is a long video that is basically how to use our manual. But even if you don't buy our manual, you can use that video to learn a lot of great techniques. And the second one that we're going to share with you is going to be on video on tips. Okay, Jadira says the manual is excellent. Yay, thank you. Yes, Christopher, the note-taking manual. So we're going to be sending you, Brad is going to be sharing on the chat 2 different videos. I want you guys to take those links, copy them, and put them somewhere so when this course is over, you have them readily available, okay? So this first video is 10 tips to master note-taking. And I'm sorry, the first video that Brad shared was, yes, 10 tips to master note-taking. I want everybody to take that link, copy it, and put it somewhere where you're not gonna forget it. So when we're done with this, again, these are 2 free videos. You can go ahead and look at those tips, okay? And then how to get the most out of Interpret Training's note-taking manual. Even if you don't purchase our manual, these tips will go a long way. And you can watch the video if you have the manual, or if you don't, that's fine too. So please copy these 2 links, okay? Copy these 2 links and we will get to these links. I want you to get to these links when we finish class or whenever you'd like before we meet next time. Go ahead and watch those videos so you learn a few techniques. That was really good work, Tony. Thank you for sharing. Okay, let's move on. Let's go.
Virginia, you want to see more notes? I got some good ones.
Oh, you got some good ones? Okay, can you share them with us?
Like Tony's were good too, right? But,
yeah, Tony's were really good. So we're gonna see a second person's notes.
can you see that?
Yes.
Oh, sorry for yelling.
That's okay. Okay, can I see those notes again? I want to see those beautiful notes again. Those looked really awesome. See if we can recover them. Oh, beautiful. Whose notes are these? Use the chat to let us know, and let's hopefully unmute you. I think a little bit back. A little bit back. Perfect. That's perfection. Beautiful. Paola Jimenez. Let's unmute Paola Jimenez so we can see, she can tell us about these, okay? While Paola's being unmuted, let me show you what I can see. Again, Paola is respecting the verticality. She is choosing words. She's not writing every single word. For example, I know Sai harm. So I know we've caused him a lot of psychological harm. So do you see how she's not writing every single thing? She's choosing which words to write. She also has the binder done not line between chunks. So when the person stops talking, or if she were in real life trying to rub someone, once that chunk of speech is done, and it's your turn to interpret. You're going to write down this line so you don't confuse with what you've interpreted already and what is pending interpretation. Okay. You can also see that she's doing some abbreviations. Like see, here we have a sort of abbreviation. She's using some symbols. Okay. She crossed out realize. She doesn't realize. So she didn't write down the word doesn't, but she crosses out the word realize, and that means she doesn't realize. Okay, and again, look how she's selective. She realized damage causing him. And if you fill in the gaps, she doesn't realize how much damage she is causing him. So she's not choosing every word. She's choosing which words make it to the page very, very carefully. Okay, and I see some symbols over here. Good job. Okay, let's see if I can go ahead and find Paola and unmute her. Oh, we lost the notes. Here we go. Brad, do you spot Paola to unmute her? Okay. So I don't know if we're going to be able to unmute Paola, but I can tell you that I love these notes. I think that you could definitely learn a lot from these notes. And a little tip would be to try not to write out full words. So for example, instead of the word jealous, which is a full long word, we might get away with J-E-L-A, and that's it. Okay? For example, with the word healthy, we might get rid of all the vowels and just leave H-L-T-H. Okay? That's a little tip. But these are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful notes, very well organized, very selective, and they're not too much. So they're distributed in a way that make a lot of sense. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing. Okay, now we're almost in the midway point, and I want us to take a little break. I want us to do a little stretch, okay? Because it's not good to sit down for such a long time without. Let me go ahead and share this video, you guys. I want you guys to do this video. For those of you who don't want to do the stretch, that's fine. Go ahead, get up, use the bathroom, grab a glass of water. We're going to be doing 3 minutes of stretching just to get our blood pumping again and not to get fossilized in our chairs. I'm going to be sharing this video with you guys. And let me see if I can
stretch, because with all the work you all do and you're under a lot of stress all the time, and stretching really helps you with that. So we're going to do this one sitting in the chair. So again, if you can push back just a little bit, and then let's get stretching. Bring your arms down to your sides. We're going to warm those shoulders up just a little bit. So you're going to do little rolls back. Before you start any stretching, you really should warm up just a little bit so that muscle doesn't stretch real nice and cold. They're kind of like rubber bands. So you take a rubber band out of the freezer and you pull it, what's going to happen? It's going to pop. So we don't want that to happen to you here. So right from here, you're going to reach down to the side, pull this arm up, and let's reach up. All the way down, down, reach up, lean to the side, hold that stretch. Take those arms forward, stretch that back, pull up, bring the arms all the way back, look up, forward, all the way forward. This should feel real good for you all, especially after a long, hard day at work. Up, 2 more of those, stretch, hold that stretch, pull it back, lift. 1 more time, here we go, stretch down. And reach up. This time let those arms come all the way up right behind your head, and you're going to turn. Let's all turn to one side. Now the arm that's in front is going to touch your opposite knee, and you're going to continue stretching all the way around, really working that spine out. And bring those hands back up, pull those arms back, open through those shoulders, and you turn all the way around the other way. The arm that's closest to the front is going to reach the opposite knee, and you're going to do a nice good twist there. Come back through the center, hold it here, press up, arms forward, interlace the fingers, hold that stretch there. Drop your head if you'd like, give you a chance to start stretching that neck a little bit. and open out to the side. Hold really nice and wide. So you're going to make yourself as long as you possibly can. We're just going to reach just a little bit. Reach, 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 reach. Really warming up that core, stretching out through the chest and the arms. Good. Keep going. Out, 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 out. Perfect. Reach up right through the front. You're going to touch the back of your shoulders. Now this is a stretch for the triceps. Lift those elbows up. Bring them down. One more time. Lift all the way up. Touch those shoulders. Lift those elbows high. Nice good stretch for the shoulders. Bring them down. Reach all the way up. Up and down. Reach up and down. Now as you're doing this stretch, reach way out from those shoulders down. Up, and you're done. That's all it is. 3 minutes and you're all set, nice and stretched out. Good job, everybody.
More notes if you want. Go there.
Okay. All right, everyone. So that was our stretch. For those of you who need to stand up like me, you can do a little more. You can go ahead and stand up and do your waist. If you're like me, you're gonna hear snap, crackle, pop. Good job, you guys. And I'm gonna go get my phone that's alerting me that it's time to stretch. But I was a little bit ahead of schedule. Okay, you guys, good work. Okay.
I feel so much better, Virginia.
I need to. I can't sit down for so long without getting a little stretch on. Okay, you guys, good work. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to our next practice, which is going to be the simultaneous practice. And I promise you guys, I'm going to be very loud, so it'll be very distracting. No, I'm sorry. That won't happen again. I will let you guys concentrate, especially because simultaneous needs your full attention. Okay, so let's go back. For those of you who have this on your own, you can go ahead and do it on your own. Before that, we have a question from Eric. In the actual court exam, some segments can be really long. If you assume they're all short, you'd be surprised and lose points. Absolutely, yes. So right now we started with a short chunk. Our labs go from shorter chunks to longer chunks. If you're studying with your own material, you should also seek out that type of sequence. And when we get to the advanced labs, then we're talking about 55 to 65 word chunks, okay? This was 25 words max. So this was pretty short, okay? Alrighty, let's go into our simultaneous. I want you guys to go ahead and use the chat. Tell me if you want to go at 100 or at 120, if you're using our material. 120, 120, 120, 120. Okay, so it seems 120 is the winner. We're going to go to 120. This is the same exact case, the same exact practice. So I want you guys to go ahead and make sure your headphones are plugged into your computer, because I don't want it to interfere with your recording, okay? When you're doing simultaneous interpretation, try to do whatever works for you. For some people, that might mean closing your eyes. For other people, that might mean taking a few notes and doodling. I've known really good interpreters who need to doodle as they listen. If you have a tie on, take off your tie. You know, if you're doing pantless Tuesday, enjoy being all out. Okay, the important thing is regain your space and do whatever it is that you need to do to concentrate. Okay, before we start this one, we're going to do a short breathing exercise that's going to get you focused. It won't take more than 30 seconds. It's basically called boxed breathing. And it's called boxed breathing because we inhale for 4 seconds, we hold it for 4 seconds, we exhale for 4 seconds, and we hold it for 4 seconds. We're going to be doing that box breathing, and we're going to do 2 boxes. So I want you to breathe in very slowly, fill in first your belly, then your chest. Here we go, inhale. Hold it. Exhale slowly. Hold it. Last box, inhale. Hold it. Exhale. And hold it. Good job. This is usually good to get us back to concentrate. Okay, we're going to get started now. Let me know if you can hear this.
Begin voice recording now. Your practice will begin at the beep in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
I just don't understand why my ex-wife won't let my son come live with me. Instead of living half the time here and half the time there. She says that I'm not a good father. But that's not true. I'm a very good dad. I am never late on any of my financial obligations. There are very few fathers who are as dedicated to their children as I am. I always go to my son's meetings at school. I never miss any of his soccer games. I never miss any of his school activities. I am always there when he needs me. The truth is that my ex-wife is angry because I divorced her. She is still furious about the fact that I remarried. But my son is the one who suffers due to her negative attitude. Regardless what she thinks, my son needs me. She would never admit it, but my son loves to be at my house. He loves being with my new wife and with his stepsisters. He is always happy when he is spending time with us. His 3 stepsisters adore him. You should see the 4 of them together. They always have so much fun. The kids are happy there because there is no drama at our house. We have a very peaceful home. My son has told me that he doesn't like to be at his mother's house. She is always angry. He says she cries for no reason. I don't think it's a healthy environment for him. She is a very negative person. She makes him very sad. Worst of all, she doesn't even realize it. She does not get it, no matter how many times I tell her that her negativity is hurting him. My son is at that age where he needs a father. He needs a stable home. I know that if he lived in a happy environment, he would be excellent at school. Ever since we got a divorce, his grades have been dropping. It is very sad to see, because he's such a smart boy. I know he can get his grades up again. What he needs is stability. Going back and forth from my house to his mom's is not good for him at all. I understand that my ex-wife is still very angry. I met my current wife when I was still married to my ex. But as I tried to explain to her when she found out that I was being unfaithful to her, you can't control matters of the heart. You can't control whether you fall in love or not. You can't control falling out of love with someone. But she simply doesn't get any of this. Most importantly, she doesn't see that none of this is my son's fault. He should not have to be the one who has to pay the consequences for the fact that she can't let go of her anger. As hard as things are now, I am absolutely certain that my son is better off now that his mother and I are apart. Our relationship was always miserable. We did nothing but argue all the time. I know we've caused him great psychological harm due to those fights we had in front of him all the time. But I also know that my son is very young and he can be a healthy and happy boy again if he's in the right environment. My ex-wife says that I just want to have my son live with me all the time because I don't like driving him for over an hour twice a week from my house to hers. But that's not true. I just want what is best for my son. That's all. My ex-wife is a very jealous woman. She doesn't care about what's best for our son. She doesn't realize how much damage she's causing him. I hope you can convince her to let me live with my son full time. I know this is what's best for him. Please help me.
Stop voice recording now. This interpreting practice has concluded.
All right, all right, all right, like Matthew McConaughey says. So use the chat to let me know how that experience went. How did you feel? It's pretty slow. It's not too hard. Better. Okay, so somebody felt better with the simul than with the consec. Okay, very good, 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 good. Okay. Now, when you're studying with our material, we're going to run you through the same practice repeatedly. If you're studying with somebody else's material, and we're also, as I said earlier, we're going to show you free resources, always do the practice repeatedly. Because it is when you know the practice by heart, remember the first step, we just got the tricky vocabulary out of the way. So when stepsister came along, we had it on the tip of our tongues. We didn't have to lose that time and that concentration in stepsister. Or regardless, the word regardless, más allá de, right? We had it ready to go. It didn't trip us up. It didn't get us off balance. So when you're working with whatever material you're working, always try to look at the transcript first and always try to identify the tricky vocab. When you do that, once you get into the actual interpretation, your brain is not going to be obsessing over, oh my God, how do I say this? Oh my God, how do I say that? You're not going to be worried about what's coming next. So you can fully focus on the actual skill of interpretation. So if it's the consecutive, you can focus on your notes. You can focus on memory retention. If it's the simul, you can actually keep up the speed because you're not losing a beat, okay? When it's sight interpretation or sight translation, you're also going to be able to concentrate better and to have a smoother rendition because you're not worried about the unknown, first of all. So getting that first step, familiarity, is huge. Get the vocab out of the way. The second step, when we do the interpretation, is very important to repeat. Repeat, repeat, repeat. You have noticed many of you use the chat and tell me what happened between the first and the second time. Use the chat if you felt better the second time than the first. Okay? Tell me, you see, we have some people saying perfect. Okay? Oh, there was somebody who felt better the first time. That probably means that your consec is stronger than your simul. Okay? All right. So this is a principle that I want to talk to you guys about because it's a very, very important thing. The idea of the importance of repetition. So before we check our work, I just want to get back to my PowerPoint presentation. And I want to talk to you guys about the importance of repetition. Do the same practice repeatedly. We're also going to be sharing with you, if you visit our website, we have a blog, and one of the tools that we set up for you is a tool that allows you to slow down a practice. So you can take the exact same practice and you can slow it down. Okay, can everybody see my slide? My slideshow? Perfect. Okay, so when you're doing any other, when you're doing our labs, you're going to notice that we have a decelerated version and a normal version in the consec, and then we're going to have 100, 120, and then we're going to start working up to 140. If it's the advanced labs, we're going to go all the way up to 160 words per minute.
Virginia, can you go larger screen?
Yes, I will in a moment. Brad, if you can share in the blog if you can share in the chat that blog that we have about controlling the speed. Let's see. Let me see if it's this one. Okay, here we go. Oh, it took me all the way back there. Okay, so Brad is going to share with you a tool that allows you to take any audio and allows you to slow it down, okay? So we are not going to talk about this. Here we are. So you're going to repeat the current lab that you're doing at least 3 times. When you repeat a lab, you're going to notice that your skills are going to get more advanced. You don't worry about becoming familiar with the content of the practice. That allows your note-taking to get better. That allows your speed to get better. When it's in sight translation, that allows your reading comprehension to get better. So don't worry about doing a practice repeatedly. Repetition lets you squeeze every last drop out of each interpreting practice. It is when you have done the practice 3-4 times that you really see your skills shining. Some students think that repeating the same practice is like cheating. But nothing could be farther from the truth. This misconception that if you repeat a practice, you're cheating is probably responsible for many failed interpreting tests. I promise you that if you do step 2 repeatedly in different modes and at different speeds, you're going to see your skills getting better and better. When you're not familiar with a practice, your brain is preoccupied with handling unexpected elements. Other than learning to improvise, you're not significantly building your interpretation skills. You're learning to improvise, but you're not really learning, you're not really getting to the next level of your interpreting skills. On the other hand, when you interpret a practice repeatedly, you get to know its component. We already knew this story. We already knew this guy complaining that his baby mama won't let him stay with his, live with his son full time. So our brain is not going to be distracted by what's coming next. It's going to be focused on the task at hand, at listening, at taking notes, at keeping up with the speaker. After the second try, that's when the magic starts to happen. So it is during the third and fourth try that you're really going to see changes. It is precisely when you're not distracted by the unknown that you can focus exclusively on polishing your skills. And we know that you will love the repetition, the results that repetition brings, okay? So don't forget to repeat, 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 and I promise you it's going to give you really awesome results. Okay, Will has asked, how many times do you think we can repeat an exercise? I say repeat it until you know it by heart. And we're going to now get into the third stage, which is the grading, the evaluation. And you repeat it until you do a perfect practice. You repeat it until there's nothing about that practice that you dislike. So you're like, I nailed it. And this can't get any better. Then I move on. It is better for you to do one same practice 4 or 5 times. Sometimes it's going to take 5, sometimes it's going to take 3, sometimes it's going to take 6, but get it to perfection than to do 5 different labs. Okay, I've trained a lot of people, and I'm telling you, as a teacher, as a psychologist, as an interpreter, you will get more bang for your buck if you repeat. Carmen says sometimes even 10. Yes, if you repeat, 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 you will definitely see results that you're going to love. Okay. So now it's time to grade. Let's get to the grading part. Okay, share my screen. And now let's go back to our course. And here we go. Can everybody see these labs? Perfect. Okay, so now we go to this little home button and we go to the third step. We go to the evaluation. Now, for those of you who used our app, we sent you an email for you to download our app. Then you can go ahead and use that code. If you're using your own labs, you can go ahead and use that code to put it in here and you'll be able to play it. The beautiful thing about playing it directly, or you can upload your audio file. If you're going to do either one of these steps, the beautiful thing about that is that you're going to be able to play your audio whenever you are following along the transcript as you're listening to your audio. Whenever you see a discrepancy between what is written and what you said, you're going to go ahead and click on it and it's going to stop the audio automatically. You're going to be able to take notes of what your mistakes were, and then you're going to be able to go ahead and continue. It's really not that big of a deal now because we don't have vocab, but next class next session, we're going to get into the vocab labs, and it's definitely going to make a huge difference. Once you're able to click on the word on the scoring unit, and you're going to be able to see that your audio stops. You're going to be able to grade your scoring unit. And as soon as you grade it correct, incorrect, or research, the window is going to close and your audio is going to resume. So at the end of that process, you're going to get a grade. Here, of course, we don't get a grade because we don't have any scoring units. This is a lab without any vocabulary yet. So what we're going to do, for those of you who are going to get ahead and do it on your own, I want you to take the audio that you recorded and I want you to email it to yourself. Okay, and then if you're using our Labs, you'll notice that here at the very top of our course, we gave you, give me a moment, let me get back up top. Okay. We gave you a little link at the top, right here. We gave you a link to convert your file to an MP3. So you're going to take that audio that you recorded on your phone, you're going to email it to yourself, and then you're going to use this link to convert that file. You're going to go to your email, download it, and then you're going to use this link to convert it. So you press on the link, and then you can go ahead and choose the file. So you go open files. Don't click on any of these things outside here. And then you're going to go to your downloads folder. You're going to pick that file, hit open, and then you'll be able to convert it. You'll go ahead and say convert, and it's going to convert the file for you. Okay. Once you have converted that file, you can go on to the third step. Right now, I really don't think it's that urgent that we convert the file because, as I said, there's no vocab here. Next class, do make sure that you download our app. It's a free app, and it will allow you to do it super, super easy and get a grade, okay? But we're gonna do it together. Most of you can just go ahead and share it from my screen. So what you're going to do is you're going to play your audio as you follow along with the transcript. You're going to listen to what you said, and you're going to read the transcript. Anytime you spot a difference in meaning between what you said and what is written down, you're going to pause your recording, you're going to take note of that mistake, and you're going to continue playing and comparing until we finish the whole thing, okay? Now, again, I can't display the full thing. So, oh, I did, yay, it's all here. Okay, so go ahead and play it and compare it. When you're done, use the chat to let us know that you're done. Take note of your mistakes. Okay, you guys, it looks like most of you are done. And if you're not done, don't worry. Remember, this is about learning the method. So again, what we're doing in the third step is we're going to take our audio recording and always record yourself. I can't stress this enough, okay? When you record yourself, you really learn what you're doing. Earlier, we were talking about how interpreting is like multitasking on steroids. And we're on this tightrope, and I'm on a cycle and juggling balls, okay? And sometimes even singing an opera. So because there's so much going on, cognitively speaking, at the same time, it is impossible for you to also assess your performance. The only way you're going to be able to get a true, accurate idea of how well you're doing, how faithful you're being to the original tone, if you're omitting ideas, if you're adding ideas, if you're altering meanings, if you're hesitating. The only way, if you're enunciating clearly, if you're expressing the original tone of the speech, the only way you're going to be able to assess if this is happening or not is if you listen to yourself. There's no other way. Many people make the mistake of doing a lot of interpreting practices and they never listen to themselves. Use the chat and be honest and tell me if you've studied sometimes without listening to yourself, okay? Use the chat and tell me if you have ever, right? We've all done it. We think, oh, great, I interpreted, I got it done, I'm done, I did that practice, okay? And then we lose the beautiful advantage of the third step. The third step is going to tell you so many things that nobody else can tell you. For example, when I don't know what to say, I say, and listening to myself, I've learned that when I don't know what to say, I just top lip, bottom lip together until I know what I'm going to say, and then I move forward if it's consec, okay? I've noticed that when I'm rushed, my enunciation and my intonation tend to suffer, okay? So listening to yourself is the only way you're going to find out how you are doing when it comes to skills and how you're doing when it comes to vocab. I promise you, when you're interpreting, your brain is too busy to also assess your performance. So the third step is crucial. Now, talking about the third step, I want to show you guys how exams work because most of us are preparing for a test. So I want you guys to become familiar with how tests work, right? So let me go ahead and get out of here. And I'm going to share the screen with you guys again. Beautiful. Let me get to where I just want to show you so you guys understand how the real life tests work. Okay, so let me go ahead and share this with you guys. When you take a test, everybody can see this? Beautiful. When you take a test, this is what we're going to work on next. Okay, we're going to do some prep work for next time, and then we're going to do this actual practice next session. Okay, when you take a test, everything you're hearing through the headphones, whether it's simul or consec, even when it's sight, everything you're seeing written on paper has already been chosen ahead of time in a transcript, and they have already selected which words are going to be the scoring unit. This is the way interpreting tests work. So it looks like this. They've already decided that the word arbitrate is going to be a scoring unit. The word arbitration is going to be a scoring unit. The word court, the word docket, the word incur, trial, non-binding, parties, filing. All of these words have been chosen ahead of time as these are the evaluation units. These are the words you have to hit. Okay, and when they listen to your recorded interpretation, what a test evaluator does is they're doing what you're going to do in step 3, which is they're going to compare what you said to what is written down, and they're going to mark it. So what we have done in step 3 is we have created a technology, and we will go through this next time for you to be able to upload your audio file. So once you upload your audio file, you're going to play your audio directly on here. You're going to hear as you follow along with the transcript. When you see the word arbitrate, you listen to what you said and you click on it. The technology that we've developed is going to make your audio pause automatically. A window will open up and this will tell you how to say it. If you got it right, you check this. If you got it wrong, you check this. If you did something different from what we have here, you're going to research it. Because you know, we can't put every single equivalent, target language equivalent under the sun. even though we were very privileged to count on Virginia Benjamin checking our work, a PhD linguist checking our work, many experienced colleagues, you know, and we researched a lot of reputable dictionaries. No one can tell you every single solution. So if you say, well, you know what, I said something else and it's not written there, I want to find out, you research it. You mark it. As soon as you mark it, your audio is going to resume playing. That's what this technology allows you to do. And we'll see it next time. So you're going to keep listening to yourself as you follow along, listening to yourself as you follow along. When you see this, oh, how did I say arbitration? You click on it and you go ahead and you mark it correct, incorrect, or research. If you said one of these two things, correct. If you didn't, incorrect. If you want to research it further, you research it. And you're going to go ahead moving on to do that. Let's say we got this one wrong, we mark it wrong. And the system is going to keep track of your score. At the end is going to give you 85%, 78%, 92%. It's going to give you an actual score. So that's the importance. If you're working with our material, this is already set out for you. If you're not working with our material, then you're going to take the transcript and you're going to listen to yourself and you're going to go ahead and mark what you got wrong and what you got right. Okay? Just a little preview of what's coming. Okay? Let me go ahead and see what's going on in the chat. Its chat is blowing up. Okay, you guys are impressed. Thank you. We worked really hard on this. We worked really hard on this. And I am the teacher, but Brad is the techie savvy guy, and he's the one who's designed these platforms to make sure that they're user friendly and that you can actually get a score at the end of this. So we were very proud of this work. But I'm going to teach you how to do it on your own if you don't get our material. Okay. All right. So let's go to the third. Now we're going to go ahead and take a peek at the first step. So this is the first lab that we're going to be doing. Ignore these numbers because these come from our original labs. We created this course just for you, but we copied the original labs. So we're going to go ahead and go here to the home button. And it's going to take us to step 1. Check out all these options that we've created for you guys. This is where I really want you to try to access your course on your own, because we have created 4 different tools for you to work out vocab. Remember, now we're talking about a vocabulary lab. We're talking about a lab where it's not just my wife is upset with me and she won't let me keep my kid. No, we have actual words that you have to get like in a real test. And we're gonna follow the same 3 steps. The first material that we have are the slides. I love the slides because the slides give you the word in a context. And in interpretation, context is everything because meaning is born out of context. So this case is arbitration. It has to do with civil law, medicine, colloquial expressions in Spanish. It's going to tell you the instructions, which are you're going to read the unit at the top, then you're going to read the sentence at the bottom, then you're going to interpret the phrase out loud. All of these tools are best used if you interpret out loud. Okay? Once you interpret out loud, then you go to the next one and you check if you got it right or wrong. Don't just sit there passively reading without doing anything. Actually interpret it. So you're going to read it, read the sentence, interpret, then go to the next slide. Check it if you got it right or wrong, and then go ahead. If you want to keep track, you can use pen and paper to keep track, and you're going to repeat that until you get nothing wrong. Let's check it out. So, word at the top is court. This court offers several services. Who wants to use the chat to translate, in this case, because you're writing it, translate this sentence. This court offers several services. Who wants to try it? Este tribunal ofrece varios servicios. Very good. You can also say juzgado. But check it out. Our key word here was court. Here we have the translated sentence, and here we have all the different ways that you can say that word. And again, these were all sought in reputable sources. We consulted 10 reputable dictionaries, and we also had, as I mentioned, great people doing our proofreading. The next one is arbitration. We offer arbitration. So if you were doing this on your own, you would interpret this out loud. But since you're not, you're going to use the chat to let me know how you would interpret this. The full sentence. Ofrecemos arbitrajes. Very good. Ofrecemos arbitrajes. You can also say tercerías. Okay, very good. Then we move on to the next one. The next one is docket. Arbitration allows us to remove some cases from the docket. Okay. Yadira says conciliaciones. I think I've seen conciliaciones as well. We would have that, for example, would become a research one. Okay. So Carmen says lista de causas. Very good. What about the full sentence? arbitration allows us to remove some cases from the docket. Nos permite retirar algunos casos de la lista de causas. Very good. Good job. Good job, you guys. And we would move on with each one of these party. Both parties have hired attorneys. Ambas partes han contratado abogados. Let me check if I got it right. Good, I got it right. Incur. You can both avoid incurring the expenses of a trial. Ambos pueden evitar incurrir los gastos de un juicio. You got it right. You could also say irrogar. It doesn't have to be this exact one as long as it's one of these. If you were to say something different, go ahead and research it. Don't just say, I've always said it like this. I'm going to keep saying it like this. And you would go through these flashcards one by one until you feel like, okay, I got this. I got this. Okay, I got none of them I got wrong. Those are the slides. Okay. Then we have the audio. I love the audio because it allows you to multitask. So let's say you are loading the dishwasher, walking your dog, exercising, taking public transportation. Please don't do this while you drive. You're going to be listening to the audios. When you hear the beep, you're going to interpret. So let's check out how that would sound.
Welcome to Interpret Train's English-Spanish Court Vocabulary Flashcards. Arbitration. Terminology related to civil law, medicine, colloquial expressions in Spanish. Listen to the sentence and interpret it after the beep. The lesson will begin now. Court. This court offers several services.
Este juzgado ofrece varios servicios.
Este juzgado ofrece varios servicios.
Very good. So when we hear the beep,
Arbitration. We offer arbitrations.
ofrecemos arbitrajes.
Ofrecemos arbitrajes.
Very good.
Docket.
You see, you guys. So the beautiful thing, I really love the audio drills because they allow you to multitask, and it's very useful to be able to work with that. So if you get our material, you're going to have these audios, but if you're working on your own, you can create your own audios. We're going to go further into how to work a lab with vocabulary. And as I said, we're going to share free resources with you. The Supreme Court has transcripts and audios that are free. You're going to look at the transcript. First step is spotting the vocabulary that you don't know. Then you're going to take that list and you're going to research those words in a reputable source. When you find the equivalent, you're going to go ahead and you could do a slide on the front. You write the word in English. In the back, you write the equivalent in Spanish. I suggest you stick with one. We offered you several because if you know one of the other meanings, we don't want you to think they're wrong. But the best thing is to just stick with one. Even if you're working with our material, just go look at the first target language equivalent and stick to that one. Don't try to remember 5 or 7 different target language equivalents, okay? So that's what we're going to do. You're going to go with just one, okay? Once you have those words already researched, I want you to go ahead and voice record them and create a little audio that has silences embedded in them so that it would look like this. Arbitration. Arbitraje. Juzgado. Court. That silence is going to be your opportunity to interpret. When you're walking your dog, when you are scratching your belly, whatever it is that you're doing, the silence becomes your opportunity to interpret out loud. All of these tools you should interpret out loud, not just passively listen or read, okay? So that's how you create your own material, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one, which is the target practice, okay? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Target practice is really cool too, because the target practice allows you to isolate in a targeted fashion the words that you want to deal with. So let's say I feel really comfortable with these, but I'm not too crazy about incur. I'm not too familiar with it. Okay, whoops, I messed up. First, I give it a good old college try. I say incurrir. Incurrir y rogar both work. Let's say I'm not too sure about non-binding. Non-binding, I think it's no vinculante, but let me check. Very good, no vinculante de carácter no obligatorio. Okay, let's see which other ones. Let's see. On and off pain. Who wants to use the chat and let me know what they would do with on and off pain? On and off pain. This pain is on and off. Very good. Viene y va, intermitente. First I try it, then I reveal it. Dolor que va y viene, dolor que viene y se va, dolor que se quita ratos, que se quita a veces, dolor intermitente. Let's say, I don't know the word hincar. Use the chat and tell me, what would you say for hincar? It's a regional Spanish word. Hincar, when we're talking about pain. Hincar is actually to hurt. Very good, Carmen. It's to hurt. So check it out. I've isolated the words. So I like people to use the target practice once they've already used the other tools, because this allows you to zone in on the ones that you still feel need practice. Once you've isolated those, you're going to go ahead and hit submit. And it's going to isolate them for you. It's going to tell you, these are the words you're going to work on. Okay, incur. Let me try it again. Incurrir. Ooh, got it right. Non-binding. No vinculante. Ooh, got it right. Let's imagine I don't get this one right. I say on and off pain, dolor que nace y muere. I reveal it. I got that one wrong. Hincar. Let's say I got that one right. Doler, hurt. Then I'm going to say finish, and it's going to tell me, no, you have to continue practicing until you get it all right. And then I'm going to know, okay, well, this is the one that I got wrong. So let me try that one again. Okay, well, I think I marked several incorrect. Okay, but this is the way. If you want to go back to the full list, you go back to the full list and you can reset it. Okay, and then you're back from square one and you can do that. I love the target practice because it lets you target in on the words that you need. Okay, without looking at everything. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. For next time, I want you guys to go ahead and practice these words, because next time we are going to be working with this vocab. Okay, so I want everybody to go ahead and I want you guys to take a screenshot. Okay, take a screenshot of these words. You can use your screenshot on your computer, or you can use your telephone, your iPhone, smartphone, to take a shot of this. Go ahead and take a shot of these words. When you have finished taking a shot of these words, then we're going to go ahead and move on. Use the chat to let me know once you got these words, you got a photo of these words. Okay? I think we got 6 people, 7 people, 8 people. Let's give it a few more seconds. Everybody, take your screenshot. I'm going to give you guys 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, very good. And now we're going to move on to the other words. I'm going to reveal them for you, and I want you to take a screenshot of these words, and you're going to work on them during the week. I want you to create your own study materials. So if you don't buy our material, you know how to create material. Go ahead, take the screenshot. Let me know when you're finished. I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds. 10, 8, 9, I'm sorry, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you didn't get it, too late now. Now let's reveal these words, and I want you guys to take a screenshot. Go ahead, 10 seconds. Beautiful. Now our last set of words. I want everybody to take a screenshot of these words, 10 seconds. All right, you guys. So if you didn't get it, too late. So what I want you to do when you get home is I want you to take these words and I want you to choose only the ones that you don't know. Don't worry about the ones that you know, okay? I want you to get to know which words you know and you don't know. I want you to take the screenshot and I want you to cover the parts that are in English, the target language ones. I want you to cover the target language once. Brad is going to explain the drills to you in a moment, but first I want to talk to you guys about this. So you're going to take your screenshot, and then you can take a Post-it note or any piece of paper, and you're going to cover the English part. So you're only looking, you're going to cover the target language equivalent. So this is in English, you're going to cover the Spanish. And you're going to try to say the meaning of each word. If you get stuck on any word, then you're going to take note of that word and that meaning. And you can do it on a flashcard, on an index card. On the front, you do one language. On the back, you do another language. And you keep looking. So I've covered, let's say this was my screenshot. Let me get my video to go again. Okay, let's say this is my screenshot. I'm going to cover half of the screen, and I'm going to say arbitrate, arbitrar, arbitration, arbitraje, non-binding, no vinculante, hincar, to hurt. Oh, this one, buju, buju, buju. I don't know buju, buju, buju. What is that? And then I'm going to take note of buju, buju, buju. Okay? You're going to take note of the words you don't know and their meaning. And then you're going to cover it again, and that's going to let you identify what you don't know. Then the words you don't know, I would suggest you put them on the front, one language, on the back, another language. Go ahead and take those cards and try to go through them as fast as you can. So you say arbitrate, non-binding, hurt, and you can even take time, because these are words that you're going to need automatically. These are words that you're going to need to be able to retrieve without having time to think about it. That's how interpretation works. It's not, oh, let me think about that. No, it has to be coming off out of the tip of your tongue, slipping off your tongue immediately. So you can do time-limited activities. You can take these cards, you can time yourself. How long does it take me to go through them? Time myself, let me try to beat my own record, and scramble the cards so you don't get used to the sequence, and do it again and again and again until you can't beat your own record. Once you've identified that there are certain words that you're having difficulty learning, you're going to isolate those words, and you're going to make audio recordings, as I mentioned. If you can take a sentence, it's even better. Use the word in a sentence. Calculate enough time for you to interpret that sentence. I like to mouth the words as I'm recording. So I would say, for example, arbitration. This court deals with arbitration. And then I mouth. I give myself a couple of seconds, and then I record. Este juzgado se encarga de arbitrajes. So when I'm listening to that audio, I'm going to interpret during the silence. And that's going to be how you're going to drill your vocabulary. Now Brad is going to share with you guys the drills. Go ahead, Brad. We can't hear you. Okay, so we have flashcards. This is flashcards that you can turn and get right or wrong. Okay, you can flip the card and check it out. Exactly. You can go ahead and memorize them. It lets you keep track of what you got right and wrong. So always interpret out loud before you flip it. So let's go to the next card. We're gonna mark it right. And then we go arbitration, arbitraje. Then you show the answer. Good, I got it right. Court, let's say I didn't say this one right, show the answer. Let's say I said cucu caca, then I'm gonna get it wrong. And it's gonna keep track of what you're getting right and wrong, okay? We also have a quiz in which it gives you the word at the top, and you have to choose which one it is, okay? And it's gonna tell you immediately if you got it right or wrong, okay? And my favorite, the match game. It has the blue words are in English, the white ones are in Spanish. So for example, testimonio would go with testimony. Testimonio, there you go. Testimony is right in the middle of the screen. We're gonna drag it and we're gonna match it up with up at the top, testimonio. Drag it up and it disappears. Once they match, they disappear. So these are the games that we have in step 1. So once you get to step 2, the vocab is in the bag, okay? So your homework for next time, you guys, is going to be, you're going to be working on this vocabulary that you took a screenshot, okay? So again, cover the half of the screen, see which one's words give you difficulty, create your little study cards, go through them as fast as you can. When you can't beat your own record, notice which ones still give you a hard time, and then do your audios. Everyone is clear on what we're doing. Use your chat, don't leave me hanging. Beautiful, okay. So that's gonna be your homework, because next time we're going to do the arbitration practice, Okay, so I want you guys to get this vocab super, super in the bag. Alrighty, you guys. I'm going to give you guys one last thing I want to share with you guys. This is a video that I saw that I really, really liked, and I want to share it with you guys. Let me make sure that I get it queued up in the right spot. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and share it with you guys. And thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you being here. We're going to be offering 3 more sessions every Tuesday at the same time. I want you guys to do your homework. I want you to focus on what you're doing. I promise you these tools are going to go a long way, and we're going to teach you how to fish. So we're going to teach you whether you work with our material or whether you work with the free resources that we're going to show you, you will get your skills to the next level. We promise you. Check out those videos that we sent you on those links because they really help with consec. Okay?
Virginia, I'd like to just share, if you could describe it. I'm going to share what happens after you click on all the scoring units.
Oh, okay.
So if you could walk us through.
Okay, so remember when we were on step 3 and we were kind of grading ourselves step by step? So we already graded everything until the very end, and all of the units have turned green, telling us that everything is been graded. Once we make sure that everything is turned green, we're going to submit it. And it gives you a breakdown of which words you got right and which words you got wrong. This is in the 3rd step. So now you're going to have a breakdown of which were the words that you tripped up with on and which are the words that you got. And there's your score, 93.48. The system is going to congratulate you. You need to have at least 80%. And then you're going to go ahead and fill out these fields. You're going to go ahead and fill out how many times you did the lab, the name of the lab, the date, if it was a consecutive or a simul or a site. And you're going to score yourself. You're going to score yourself on these fields from accuracy, your completeness, because part of what happens in a test is it's not just about the scoring units. What you get graded on is the scoring units, but some exams have a little leeway for the evaluator to also assess how fluid you were, how complete your interpretation was in the parts that weren't scoring unit, how assertive you sounded, how your tone was. All these things are going to get graded in a qualitative way. The other stuff is quantitative. That part of the test that is just like, this is the scoring units you got right and wrong, that's the biggest component, but sometimes there's a little qualitative evaluation of these type of things. So I want you to learn to evaluate yourself on these different elements. Then once we're finished, we submit, and voila, you get a certificate of completion that says everything. This was the date you did the practice. This is the amount of words per minute in the simultaneous. My self-evaluation gave me a 7.9. These are the exact breakdown of how my self-evaluation went and your score. So when you download this as a PDF file, you can keep track of the first time I did it, I got a 93, but the second time I did it, I got a 98. And you actually have a numerical score. You actually have this beautiful self-evaluation and numeric evaluation. So there's a subjective and an objective evaluation telling you, and then because you kept track of how many times, it tells you when I do it 3 times, I'm really rocking, or I need to do it 2 times to get there. Okay, so that's the beautiful thing about the 3rd step. It allows you to have a concrete assessment of your progress. Whereas if you don't do that, you really don't know how well you did. Okay, and now I'm going to share this video with you guys. Here we go.
Today, I want to talk to you about cultivating a healthy outlook during a challenging time. This is a speech I heard by Margarita Pasos. She's a motivational speaker, a Fortune 500 trainer, and she has an awesome talk on TED Talk. When I heard her chat, it inspired me to put the speech into English, add images, and even share a few tips of my own. So here we go. The first thing I want to talk to you about today is the person with whom you speak the most. Picture that person. Who is that person? But of course, it's yourself. We engage in self-talk constantly throughout the day. So in times that you're at home a lot and facing lots of challenging circumstances, you might have allowed your inner lunatic to take charge and run amok. Your thoughts might turn gloomy and even fatalistic. What if I get fired? What if I lose my home and I'm out on the streets? What if I die? It's very important to change the channel during those thoughts. It's very important to find activities that you can engage in that will allow you to allow new thoughts in and shoo those thoughts out. Imagine a bird of prey that comes to perch itself on your shoulder. Would you feed it and fatten it and caress it and let it get more comfortable and heavier on your shoulder as it whispers, spews venom into your ear? Of course not. You'd shoo it away. That's why it's so important that we learn to curate our thoughts and engage in positive thoughts and positive mental activities. A great way to do that is gratitude. No matter how bad it is right now, it could always be worse. Once you think of that worst case scenario where you don't have any health, you don't have a home, you don't have so many of the blessings that you do have, you get to take stock of all the wonderful gifts that you have in your life. You also become more in tune with opportunities to learn. A challenge becomes an opportunity. That's why we have to be so careful with our thoughts. Our thoughts create feelings, our feelings create actions, and actions create your reality. Simply put, what we think, we become. Secondly, what type of brain food are you consuming? Do you have a healthy mental diet? Or are you eating a lot of mental junk food? Are you watching a lot of news all day long, very alarming reports that keep you hyper informed and hyper anxious? Are you engaging with people who bring you down and make you feel really crappy about yourself? Are you watching scary movies? Right now on many streaming platforms, the most popular genre are movies about pandemics, about the end of the world, about zombies. And you might think that these movies don't affect you, but they do. When you watch them, you produce adrenaline and cortisol, and these hormones are very detrimental to your immune system. What does a positive mental diet look like? You're reading books that inspire you and motivate you and uplift you, that make your imagination soar. You're doing online courses. There are so many free resources right now that can help you gain skills that will help you to prepare for this new world. Are you engaging in meditation and prayer? Sweating at least once a day? Laughing. Laughter is such an incredible resource for well-being. Those books, those people, those movies that make you laugh from your belly allow you to produce endorphins and dopamines and oxytocin and hormones that are very important to your immune system and your general well-being. So just like you wouldn't engage in junk food every single day, all day long, so are you going to be very watchful of your mental diet and consume healthy things and engage in healthy thoughts. Think of a guard that is parked at the front of your door and is going to be very vigilant to allow in constructive activities and constructive thoughts. Think of your mind as your sacred home that you will protect. This was The Chats by Margarita Pasos. She has an awesome presence online. You can find her on social media and YouTube. She has great videos on YouTube.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. For those of you who have to go right now, this is our time. For those of you who have questions, you can stay a little longer and I'll answer some questions. Thank you so much for being here. Please be very good to yourself. Don't let yourself get gloomy during this period. Remember that all of these jobs that are being postponed right now are going to be heard. So once this is over, you're going to have more work than you know what to do with. So it's important to stay sharp, to stay positive, to keep growing. There are many resources that you can use right now. We're going to show you free resources for those of you who are going through financial challenging times. It's about the most important resource is your time and your effort. And as long as you're willing to put those two things in, anything is possible. And there are so many wonderful resources out there that we're going to teach you how to use. And we hope to see you next time. Stay positive, and there's more work than you can even imagine coming up. So stay sharp so you can face those challenges. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
See you guys next time.
Bye-bye.